Hello, human family, and welcome back to another exciting episode. Today, we're going to be constructing a Hugelkultur style gardening bed. Hugelkultur, I chose to do a Hugelkultur style garden bed because it really starts to bring back nutrients within the soil and water retention. Water retention with the logs, the sticks, the way that within 2 to 3 years, the type of compost activity that happens is just incredible. And it also uses a bunch of the material that I already had just laying around that I was wondering what I'm gonna go do with this. And so the Hugelkultur style garden bed is a great way in order to use extra material that you just have lying around that you don't know what to do with. I mean, all of the tree clippings, instead of having to pay to get it taken care of, now there's other ways. There's always other ways. Everything becomes useful. And so we're on that path of starting to learn how to make everything useful. Okay, so here we have our depression made into the ground. So I dug down about, I would say, 6 to 12 inches down from ground level. And I just made very simple shape, very simple garden bed design. And since we're doing hugelkultur, the first aspect that I'm gonna put into here is logs and sticks. And you see here, this is the type of material that I've just been saving for months and months and months. It's best to use material that has been around for a long amount of time. Once you have your material, we're gonna put it in the ground. As you can see, I did here. Just nice and simply cut it up some branches, lay them nice and flat, lay them at the base of the garden bed. And so I'm gonna do a couple different layers. This is just the first layer. With this first layer, I try to get everything as squished down as possible. I walked over all of it just to try to flatten it down, make it nice and flat. It makes it so much easier when it's flat. As you keep adding each layer, it's important to water. You want to keep watering it. And so here I added some dirt. So now it's just that base layer with some soil added back on top and then sprayed with some water to keep it nice and moist. Now here I add a second layer. So you can see that there's a lot more of that stick material planted at that base. And so I tried to really fit it in nice and tight, really tried to fill up the bottom. But that soil, we want soil in mixed in between so that way if things start growing through it, it wants to be able to catch on to that soil. And once again, now sprayed it down with some water. So that way everything's nice and moist. And this is kind of just the beginning process of me putting some additional soil, getting it nice and wet. From this point, I'm going to add a majority of the soil back to the actual little garden bed pit we have here. Now here you can see that I have returned the soil back on top of the sticks. So now the sticks are nice and buried underneath all this soil. And just doing this, what I realized was you don't need nearly as much soil to go back to cover those sticks, to cover the, the wood material that you have buried underneath. And I will explain that more why near the end of the video. But yeah, so underneath all that is just that wood material. Here, I sprayed it down with some water, preparing it. After every layer, just give it a nice little quick spray down with some water. So you got your flat, you go all the way down 6-12 inches, toss in your wood material, spray it down, add some dirt, spray it down. Now, what I was doing from here, I added some cardboard. Now, cardboard is really a good material to help with worms and it breaks down super easy. It also helps with weed control. At least from the research that I've done, these are the types of answers that I've received why to use cardboard. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it and see how it works out this time. So once I put that cardboard down, sprayed it down, got it nice and wet, I put some rocks, some stones, just to make sure it doesn't blow away. Now, on top of that cardboard, I used another type of vegetation that I had just really lying around. This stuff is more like a weed. I used another type of brown, almost like a tumbleweed, similar to a tumbleweed, but that tumbleweed type of material mixed in with some leaves. So we will keep a nice amount of brown material. And with the browns, we want to go ahead and get that nice and wet. So this is just really smaller level straw with leaves mixed together. Put on top of the cardboard. So after I had put the cardboard down and I used my leaves and my brown material, my straw-like material, and I have everything in place, I go ahead, I sprayed that down, got it nice and wet again, tried to flatten it down. And then I started adding my soil back on top. And this time, when I add my soil, I added in some manure and just some just manure I had lying around from like 2 gardening seasons ago, as well as some gardening soil. But when I added all these components back on top of the pile, which you go clear, you see here, is it wasn't enough soil to kind of cover my mound. And so I need to add additional soil, but that's kind of all I had for right now. Now, for me, I have plans to do a little side project in order to get a little extra soil. But this mound right here is kind of an idea, a very small mound of what we're kind of going for. I'm trying to try and make this mound approximately at least maybe a foot to 2 feet off the ground, roughly. And that's going to be added in with soil on top, compost, mulch. And so I'm going to show the rest when I get it complete. But this is kind of where we're at the moment. It took me approximately 2 days to get to this point so far. And it's coming out really good. It's coming out better than I expected. It's just a process. If you got some buddies, invite your buddies over, because having some friends to help you do this type of stuff, teamwork makes the dream work. And yeah, thank you everybody for sticking around. There is many ways to develop this type of setup. The way I'm doing it this time is not the only way of doing it. It's really just burying that wood material in order for it to decompose and adding in layers of browns, greens in order to create a whole ecosystem. But thank you everybody for sticking around to the end of the video. It's time to get prepared. Let's get ready. Love and light leads the way. God bless, and everybody take care.